I guess this is Balancing with BB. Hey friends, welcome back to Balancing with BB. This week I'm going to talk about my application process to law schools and a little bit about why I chose Vanderbilt. So my law school application process was tedious and streamlined, I guess, in the same kind of sense now that I'm looking back at it. I started my process in 2017 and I started law school in the fall of 2018. So my first step was the LSAT, pretty much. I went to my pre-law advisor at Auburn University, and I will not say her name because I'm about to say some real wild stuff about her. That is what that is. So I started studying for the LSAT May of 2017, and I decided that I was going to take it in December, but some split-second decision by the grace of God let me know that December was a really bad idea to take the LSAT because I would also be trying to take finals maybe like a week or so after I would have taken the LSAT, and so it just would have been like a little too chaotic. So I pushed it up to September and I took the LSAT then. So I studied all summer, studied for the first month of school, and I took it, I think it was September 16th. I took the LSAT. I got my score back, I think maybe mid-October, and I boohoo cried about my score. It wasn't a bad score, but in my mind, I just wasn't going to any schools, and so I boohoo cried about my score right before I was supposed to be going out with my friends. So I think there were like 2 more days for me to register for the December LSAT. So I registered for the December LSAT, and I took it again in December, which I should not have done. I scored 4 points lower on the December LSAT, and I kind of knew that it was heading there well before I showed up, for that same reasoning that I decided to take it in September, which was that my semester would be winding down. I would have papers due. I would have finals a week later. So I would be trying, scrambling to do schoolwork and make sure my grades were still really good, because my grades, that was the last semester that would count as far as me sending my GPA to law schools. And so I couldn't really jeopardize my semester, but I also really wanted to increase my LSAT score, which I did not jeopardize my semester, but I did not increase my LSAT score. So that just kind of is what that is. That year, LSAT decided that it was a great idea to release our scores early as a Christmas present. So of course, again, I boohoo cried because my score was 4 points lower, and I thought that I wasn't going to anyone's law school, and I was completely overreacting. I also thought that I was really behind the curve as far as applications, because I submitted my applications in January, whereas most people say like you should submit your applications early. The earlier, the better, which is true. The earlier that you submit your application, the better. There's more scholarship money available. There are less seats filled, so usually it's less competitive. And you're not really kind of waiting, because usually seat deposits are due at the beginning of April, so you're not waiting until the last minute and kind of hanging on for last spots if your scores are not what you want them to be, or if your GPA is not what you want it to be. They say, I don't work on any admissions committee, so I don't really know for sure, but all the Reddit boards and law school boards and Above the Law and everything else says that it is better to apply earlier on in the cycle. So basically just have your ducks in a row, dot your I's and cross your T's. That's it. Okay. I submitted all of my applications early January. I think January 15th was the latest that I would submit an application. I applied to 9 schools. I applied to 9 schools all in January. I started hearing back from schools in February, which is also when I started to visit schools. At the time, my top choice was UT Austin, which was the first school that I visited, and I visited in early February. It was one of my absolute favorite visits. Still to this day, hands down, probably is one of my absolute favorite visits. Me and my mom went And I loved it. And on top of me loving the school, I actually found out that I got into UT Austin the night before I visited that morning. So that just like, I think that's probably like the icing on the cake for that visit. It just made it like really surreal, and it made me realize that like I was really going to law school kind of thing. So that was kind of like my first encounter, and it just was like, I felt like that was just really, really exciting for me personally. I love the school. I loved my tour, and it was still my top choice when I left there. And that just kind of was what that was. My dad asked me to apply to Vanderbilt. I applied to Vanderbilt. I was supposed to be visiting another school in Nashville, but I ended up canceling that. And I came up to Nashville and visited Vanderbilt with two of my LSs, and we had a ball. Like, we had the best time ever. And we had just come back from Miami for spring break when we came and visited here, and we had a really, really great time when we visited. We explored the city a little bit, which kind of sold me and my LSs on Nashville. So I mean, it just kind of turned into like something really, really great. And that's just kind of what that is. Well, like, that's my application process, like, in a nutshell. The in-depth portion for people that are applying right now, this is for you. That was all of that at the beginning. I guess was more so for people who are thinking about law school, thinking about starting this process and all sort of stuff. I studied for the LSAT for 4 months: May, June, July, August, and the beginning of September. So let's say middle of May to the middle of September. So like, we'll just say like 4 straight months. I studied for the LSAT, and I still did not get the score that I wanted to get on my first try, and obviously not on my second try. I took a million practice tests, and I want to say shout out to all of my roommates, friends, my boyfriend, and everybody else who helped me and timed my practice test while I was studying for the LSAT. So that was a process within itself, and it really, really sucked, to be completely honest. We can hear you. We can hear you sneaking in here. Like, oh, is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you tried to sneak. We can hear you. That was the most grueling process of the applications, is taking the LSAT. After I took my LSAT, I started working on my personal statement, which took me forever because I didn't know what I was going to write about. I'm not going to say that I didn't have any traumatic life experiences that I felt like were good to write about. I didn't have a traumatic life experience that I wanted to put on paper and let my friends and my family edit and give it to admissions at university. So I had to figure out a way to be honest, a way to be vulnerable, and a way to highlight myself in the midst of all of those things without oversharing for me personally. Like, I personally didn't want to overshare because I knew that I would be oversharing with way too many people that I wasn't feeling that for. Like, I didn't want, it's just some stuff you don't want your parents and your friends to read, people you don't want your mentors to read. You definitely don't want people that you don't know as an admissions committee to read about you, even though it's something that is so profound, and it's great that you have overcome that and it highlights you in a beautiful way. But sometimes that just ain't it, and for me that just wasn't it. I didn't want to write about that. So it took me a really, really long time to figure out what I wanted to write about. So I wrote 2 personal statements before I got to the actual topic I wanted to talk about. So if anybody want to read it, I will send it to you because I don't need it anymore. You can definitely get some notes from it if you want to, if you just want a little something. So that was kind of that. And I will say that my pre-law advisor, she was really, really good as far as editing my personal statement, creating those arcs for me and letting me know where I needed to expound more, where I needed to explain more, so that you could really pull that effect and that emotion, that gravity out of my personal statement so people could really understand where I was coming from. So she was great on that front. She was not great on other fronts. Like, as a person of color, I needed someone that was going to help me get to law school and get to the schools that I wanted to go to. And sadly and unfortunately, I had to do all of that on my own. I don't have any lawyers in my family. At the time, I didn't have any mentors that were lawyers who could help me either. So I kind of had to pick up all of these pieces for myself and figure out what exactly I needed to do, which really sucks when you have a person whose position it is to be your pre-law advisor and to do those things with you and help you in those ways. So that was pretty shitty. And on top of that, my pre-law advisor straight up told me that I would not be able to go to the law schools I wanted to go to, which I laugh at now because I go to the law school I wanted to go to. I had the opportunity to go to the other law schools that I really wanted to go to that were top of my list. So at the end of the day, I had options. I was very blessed to have options. Even in the face of somebody telling me that not only would I not have options, I wouldn't be able to go to a good law school, in a law school that was for me personally. So even in the face of her discouragement, your girl still ended up fine. Yeah. I don't know. She was just trash. She was very discouraging. You know, it's really crazy. It's really, really crazy because at the end of all of this, she had a pre-law panel with all of like the graduating seniors that were going to law school. And I was the only person of color on the panel, interestingly enough. That's just really, really trash because it's not creating a pipeline or an avenue for people of color to connect with other people of color who are doing what they want to do. Like, it's really hard to create a network if you don't know who those people are that you need to create a network with. And that's her job. I need to go take her job when I get out of here. That's what I really need to do. I need to take this job. A lot of work. The application process is just long and it's tedious because it has so many parts. I completely forgot the letters of recommendation. You need to get those, but you never get to see them. Like, you just kind of gotta hassle the people that are writing the letters for you, and they'll usually just go ahead and get them done. That's like literally the easiest part of the application process is your letters of recommendation, and probably your transcripts, sending those off. But that was really just it. It was very long. It seemed like it was forever. But now that I'm looking back at it, it was just really from like May to February. I went to Vanderbilt's admitted students weekend, and I was kind of sold after my visit and kind of decided that I was going to go there. But I went to their admitted students weekend, which really solidified it for me. And then I had this big reveal party where everybody could vote on what school I was going to. And obviously I chose Vanderbilt at the end. So that was great. I chose Vanderbilt because it was the best place for me at the time. The people were very down to earth when I was visiting the school and when I was talking to students. They were also very honest, and I appreciate honesty even when it's bad. Well, the most when it's bad, honestly, because it gives me the school in the true light and not in that cookie cutter light and the recruiting light. Like, I want to know what my life is going to be like, especially as a woman and a person of color, every day. Like, being a black woman is hard enough as it is, so I just need to know if that's going to count against me when I'm trying to go to school, or if like that doesn't matter at all. And so it was very nice to know that there were people who were very, very honest about their experiences, good and bad, and they highlighted it all, which made me understand that like it was just a place that I wanted to be overall. And obviously things could be better because I go to a majority white school. Things will always be able to be better in all situations, but at the time and still now, I think that this was the best option for me. I've made some of the best friends of my life, and they're going to be my friends forever. You guys are stuck with me. And yeah, really that's it, I think. I don't think there's anything else about law school that sucked. Law school sucks in general, but the application process wasn't that bad. Any study tips for the LSAT? I can give you some and point you in the direction of some people who also did like really, really well on the LSAT. If you just want to know more about anything at all, feel free to email me or DM me on Instagram. If you just want to talk about law school and your feelings, like, we can do that too. So obviously I'm free because quarantine season. Let me know whatever y'all are trying to do. And in the meantime, keep balancing.